Welcome, everyone, to tonight's full moon ceremony. This month, we welcome the sun in the sign of Gemini, and the moon is in its opposite sign, Sagittarius. But before we get into the particulars of Gemini and Sagittarius, I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the other big energy that is about to hit us this month, as if we needed any more. The planet Jupiter moves into the sign of Gemini on Saturday and will stay there until July of next year, when it will move into the sign of Cancer. So what does this mean? Well, in a nutshell, it means that we will have opportunities to get curious about what is meaningful to us, and then take action to bring that new inspiration into our lives. Jupiter wants you to learn new subjects and develop new skills so that you can have a richer and more fulfilling life. Jupiter's role in Gemini is to inspire and expand your understanding of life. Whatever Jupiter touches expands and grows larger. So with Jupiter in Gemini, you can expect your life to speed up and to be inspired by new ideas that are meant to guide you into the future and to a more fulfilling life. That would be nice. Let's talk now about Gemini. Gemini is the first air sign in the zodiac, and it represents the development of intelligence, how we learn. And because Gemini is also what is called a mutable sign, it's very adaptable to the circumstances of its life and how it interacts with its everyday life. Gemini, with its ruling planet Mercury, loves to gather information and is sometimes called the messenger, as it communicates what it knows to everyone. Albert Einstein is quoted as saying, quote, "The world we have created is a process of our own thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. It is our responsibility to control our thought, and through our focus on the good, the true, and the beautiful, on the thought of emerging goodwill of the majority, we create a world that is exactly that, because as we all know, energy follows thought," end quote. Gemini is a transmitting energy, and at the level of the personality or the ego, Gemini transmits information from his busy mind. He's always collecting and distributing information. My granddaughter is a Gemini, and I can see this in her so much. She just loves to learn, and she loves to tell everybody what she knows. So hopefully she will gain a little maturity with that. In the more evolved Gemini, the spiritually mature Gemini, this transmitting energy is uplifted to be the transmitter of pure spiritual energy. So under the influence of the soul, Gemini becomes a transmitter of the spiritual energy of love. Once the heart is infused with love, it allows the Gemini person to see the divinity within everyone. And that is our task this month, to allow the energy of love to transform us. The glyph for the Gemini is the twins, symbolizing duality, and you can see it behind my right shoulder here. Gemini learns by exploring these dualities within himself and resolving them, thus furthering his own evolutionary progress. On the level of the personality, the Gemini native struggles with these dualities, these opposing forces in his nature: heart versus mind, doubt versus confidence, intellect versus emotions. Sometimes there can be a feeling of almost being at war within oneself, always vacillating between the idea of right and wrong. You might take a moment this month to consider the duality in your own nature Where might you be at war with yourself? The highest expression of this duality is soul and personality, spirit and matter. How do we bring these two together? How do we blend them? Isn't that what the evolutionary journey is all about? Becoming a soul-infused personality. And this is a lifelong process, yes? Probably more than one lifetime, I would guess. Gemini is curious and loves to be exposed to a wide variety of ideas, people, and experiences. And from these explorations, he learns that there are many ways of looking at things. This gives him a wide perspective on issues and life. Gemini reminds us that the quality of our attention determines how we experience ourselves, others, and the world. The sole ruler of Gemini is Venus. Using the energy of love, Venus connects the opposing forces within the Gemini individual into a fluid synthesis. And you can see in the glyph behind me, those two marks above and below the holes. That's Gemini's connecting force of love. When they are transmuted into one united whole, the warring parts begin working together. So when you become aware of parts of your personality that are doing battle, you might try invoking the energy of Venus, invoking love and harmony into those parts, and see if it can transform the battle into a united expression of healing love. Full moons always give us the opportunity to open a new chapter in our lives. So let us use these energies this month to become better listeners, not so much chatter, not so much monkey mind. Let our minds be open to hear, to understand, to ask questions, and then listen to the answers that we receive intuitively. And let us be discerning in the information that we take in, as well as the information we give out. Let's use our powers of discernment. Usually when we think of the full moon, we focus on the moon itself and assume we are dealing with the energies of the moon. Well, in a sense we are, but what we most want to focus on is the alignment that takes place between the sun, the moon, the earth, and the constellation we are currently in. Because of this alignment, what we actually see on the day of the full moon is the reflected light of the sun. It shines completely unobstructed onto the moon. That is why in esoteric astrology, we focus mostly on the energies of the sun at the time of the full moon. It is always important, however, to consider the moon energies, because part of our task, as we know, is to blend and integrate and synthesize the energies of both the sun and its opposite sign, the moon. Sagittarius is Gemini's opposite sign, and their energies are very different. Sagittarians are on a relentless pursuit for the truth. Some descriptive words for Sagittarius are one-pointedness, the explorer, the seeker of truth, the moralist, the free spirit, the guide, the know-it-all, the philosopher. The opposite sign, Gemini, has a much different energy. Gemini is here and there and everywhere, all over the place. Gemini seeks the truth, just as Sagittarius does, but Gemini's mind is agile, so it tends to jump from one thing to the other, gathering information and disseminating it at every opportunity. Sagittarius needs Gemini to keep him flexible so he doesn't become rigid. Gemini needs the Sagittarian energy to keep focused. They are good partners if they can work together. Sagittarius is a fire sign, Gemini is air. What manifests when we join fire and air? What would that look like? It may manifest as a strong mental energy that can be destructive and powerful if used in a negative way. Let's shift gears now a bit and talk about the 3 spiritual festivals that we are celebrating tonight. We came together in April to honor our new beginning as we started a new cycle in Aries. This was the Easter festival. We invoked the fiery will of Aries to help us initiate the new ideas that were brought into our consciousness. In May, at the Wesak festival, we received the grounding earth energy of Taurus to help us embody and manifest those ideas that we contacted in Aries. We also welcomed the illuminating light of the Buddha and the Christ, bringing us the gift of unconditional love and wisdom. Now at this Gemini full moon festival, we become receivers of those sacred energies that were contacted during the Wesak ceremony. This full moon is the moment when these powerful energies are transmitted to all of humanity. Each year, this festival is celebrated at the full moon of Gemini. This festival is called by many names: the Festival of Humanity, the Festival of the Christ, the Festival of Goodwill. It is called the Festival of the Christ because, as you know, it was the Christ who stood at the stone altar during the Wesak festival and received the cosmic energies of the Lord Buddha. At this Gemini festival, those energies are dispersed onto all of humanity. It is also sometimes called the Festival of Humanity because humanity has this powerful opportunity to receive these energies fully into their being. The more consciously we invite these energies in, the more potent they will be, the more powerfully they will stimulate our divine nature. The festival is also called the Festival of Goodwill because that is the way that most people will manifest this energy, as a desire to just be a better person, to do good in the world. Interestingly, since 1952, this festival also coincides with the World Day of Prayer, or World Invocation Day. It was created as a way to intensify the invocative appeal to the great ones. And we are told that this universal appeal evokes a tremendous downpouring of love and goodwill from the hierarchy. In 1952, on World Invocation Day, Eleanor Roosevelt read the Great Invocation over the radio that touched thousands of people. So it is that on this day, people from all over the world are encouraged to recite the Great Invocation many times throughout the day as a way to send up a powerful invocative appeal to the great ones, to pour down upon us love, light, and power. This is the power of a united invocative appeal. We are promised that there will be an evocative response, and the potency of that response depends upon the power of the invocation. So I invite you to participate in this worldwide endeavor by reciting the Great Invocation as many times as is possible for you tomorrow. The exact moment of this full moon is 6:53 tomorrow morning, Pacific time. So I would suggest reciting this invocation as many times as you can throughout the day. The Tibetan master Dwal Kul says this about this important day, quote, "The power of united prayer and meditation is as yet a little used resource. On World Invocation Day, we have the opportunity to marshal this power to aid the forces of light upon planet Earth. To invoke is to call upon, to petition for help or support, to appeal to. In the case of World Invocation Day, the appeal is being made to God and to the overshadowing beneficent forces to come to the aid of humanity and the planet in response to our united invocative appeal. It is said that the invocation could change our lives, reorient our purpose, expand our consciousness, and stabilize us in spiritual being. It could also disrupt and rebuild the planetary thought form and open the door into the new age, thus ushering in the new and better civilization. This could be done so rapidly that the needed changes would come about almost overnight, and humanity could settle down to a life of group goodwill, individual harmlessness, and right human relations. Please join us in this global day of prayer, meditation, and invocation. Together we can change the world. End quote. So let us prepare now for our meditation, our visualization. So let's begin by making sure that we're comfortable, that we will not be disturbed. Allow yourself to have this time free of interruptions and distractions. Notice your posture and see if you can sit with your spine relatively erect, without any tension or discomfort. Begin by taking a few deep cleansing breaths. Allow the breath to travel throughout your body, quieting, calming, creating softness and gentleness with every inhalation. Let this life breath help you to come home into the body, to settle, to relax. Feel the stresses of the day release as you exhale. Now imagine that the color violet is filling your room. This is the color of Gemini. Breathe it into your heart space and allow it to open your heart so that you are receptive to the downpouring of love that will occur as we invoke these energies of Gemini. Be aware now of your consciousness expanding, opening up, reaching up to the spiritual realms. See now in your mind's eye the image of the Christ. Imagine him in any way that resonates with you, but picture him as clearly and fully as you can. As you look into his eyes, become aware of the energy of love that emanates from his being. And align yourself to that energy. Feel it enter your body, filling every cell with love. Now imagine it expanding and enfolding your entire auric field. Then, with a conscious act of focused will, send forth your appeal, your demand that the Christ release the energies of love throughout the planet. We are told that whenever we invoke, there will be a response. So know that as you do this, an intense magnetic field of transforming power is being created that will draw the needed energies into the earth. Be open and receptive now to these powerful energies. Imagine this unconditional love infusing your relationships. Creating harmony, resolution, and healing. This powerful love is also badly needed by our world today. So let us open our hearts in love to all of humanity. And let us offer this prayer. I open myself to the power of grace that lives in us as goodness. That is never absent and radiates peace and lights the way to transformation. With purity of motive, inspired by a loving heart, we offer ourselves for this work of healing. This offer we make as a group to the ones we seek to heal. We feel a deep love pouring into us, the love of God and the love of humanity. We focus at the ajna center, the center between the eyebrows. And we see that we are points of radiant light. We radiate this light, blended with the healing rays of the Christ from our ajna center into the world. We say silently together, may the love of the one soul focused in this group radiate upon humanity and every nation, especially the Ukraine and the Middle East. May it heal, soothe, strengthen, and dissipate all that hinders service to the world. We believe in the results of our work, and we hold this deep radiating love throughout the next 3 days. A love that is safeguarded by our intentions and by our work together. We see the healing energies being received by all of humanity and by every nation. And thus we see the nations and humanity stabilized, restoring right human relationships between countries, nations, and individuals. This love is constant and continuous. Wherever we are within us, we create a healing dimension, radiating outward from ourselves the will to good, the will to love. Give yourselves a few minutes now to return, making sure that you are grounded in the earth and fully in your body. And when you are ready, please open your eyes. And of course, I can't have a ceremony without a poem. So this is called Beginners by Denise Leverteau. But we have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life. How could we tire of hope when so much is in bud? How can desire fail? We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy, only begun to envision how it might be to live as siblings with beast and flower, not as oppressors. Surely our river cannot already be hastening into the sea of non-being. Surely it cannot drag in the silt all that is innocent. Not yet, not yet. There is too much broken that must be mended. Too much hurt we have done to each other that cannot yet be forgiven. We have only begun to know the power that is in us if we would join our solitudes in the communion of struggle. So much is unfolding that must complete its gesture. So much is in bud. I think it's beautiful. So now we're going to close with the great invocation, which is the invocation that I'm inviting you to use tomorrow as often as you can. If anyone needs a copy of this, You can just send me an email and I'll send it to you. Tomorrow is called the Day of Contact and Safeguarding, which means that it's the day of the full moon, so the energies will be the most intense tomorrow. So we're asked to not just go through our day as usual, but to go through our day with a sort of inner stillness and inner silence, holding those energies within ourselves so that they are not misused or wasted or dissipated. And then the next 3 days are called the days of radiation, where we go through our days consciously radiating those energies out to everyone that we meet. But for the day of contact tomorrow, we're asked to hold those energies within ourselves, give them a chance to get fully embodied in our bodies. Okay, so here's the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. See if you can again visualize light pouring into the planet. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. Imagine the unconditional love of the Christ pouring forth to humanity. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om. 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 Namaste, dear friends. Thank you for joining me. It's lovely to have you all here. And don't forget the next 4 days are pretty important. So tomorrow, hold those energies, and then the following 3 days, be conscious of how you radiate them, because they're very powerful. I don't know if any of you can already feel the energies of the full moon, but I was walking around like a zombie today. It's just, oh my gosh, what's going on? And the aurora borealis hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just knocked on my tush. I just could not, I couldn't function. I didn't sleep. I was walking around in a daze. So they're really potent energies, and I'm not, don't be surprised if you have some physical symptoms, restlessness or headaches or dizziness or sleeplessness, because this is a really, really intense full moon. But we get the downpouring of the love from great ones. So that's the good news. Okay, my friends, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next month, if not before.